can't get on this train. This is a people train. You cows have no business on a people train, all right? Because you cows. No. Don't try any of that cow hypnosis on me, all right?
Dude, that kicks ass. Yeah, somebody's baking brownies.
Do you want an office referral?
No.
Then sit down! We're running late!
Ed Berliner, the fastest show in sports.
Man, I had this crazy nightmare last night.
Really? What about?
Well, I was standing out in a field, and I had this huge satellite dish sticking out of my butt. And then there was hundreds of cows and aliens, and then I went up on the ship, and Scott Baio gave me pink eye.
That wasn't a dream, Cartman. That really happened.
Oh, right. Why don't I have pink eye then?
Cartman, you do have pink eye.
Ah, son of a bitch!
Greetings, true believers. Welcome into the fastest show in sports. I am your ringmaster, Ed Berliner, and the gentleman to my right, or no, wait a minute, to your right and to my left. He is moving right to left on your television screen and your radio dial. Formerly of the New York Times, the Washington Post, ESPN, vaunted author as well, man about town, gadabout as well, Mike Wise joins us once again. Kevin Winter continues to be on assignment. And I love saying those words because every time it ever happened in television where somebody say, I'm sorry, but Ed Berliner's on assignment. You kidding? I was at Universal going to the theme park, on assignment. So
yeah, I know. I always love it.
It made for very easy. By the way, I do want to start out the show by saying, and I mean this sincerely, seriously. I beg you people, please do not make any wagers based on my selections for any sporting event. Makes no difference. From basketball to football to tiddlywinks, don't do it. I suck. I'm the worst at it. I mean, I've never gotten anything right. People ask me for picks. I give them the picks just off the top of my head. But 99% of the time, I'm wrong. Look, Mike, I picked Colorado and Ottawa as my dark horses in the NHL. They both bailed out. I said on this show, without doubt, without question, completely confident that there was no way the New York Knicks would beat the Boston Celtics. And you griefed me. You were the first one to grief me on Facebook about that. When they went down 1-0, now they're down 2-0. Please,
no,
people.
I actually,
please,
I actually gave you grief before it was even 0-1. I said, look, we could really quickly. Having the NBA being my wheelhouse, it's where I made my bones at the New York Times.
You did.
I covered the Knicks during the glory years. Their I guess their 90s glory years. And when people believed the Ewing and that group had a chance, and of course every time Michael Jordan was on the floor, it was impossible because even Karl Malone and John Stockton and Charles Barkley and much Hall of Famers to be, had they been born at a different time, would have won championships if not for him. But it was the magic. Madison Square Garden was a magical place.
Yes, it was. I actually attended some games both as the media and as a fan, and I remember that. They were, look, the first time I got involved in basketball, I grew up in New York, so basketball wasn't my main sport, but I became a Knicks fan because that was in the real early glory years. I was just a kid and enjoyed it, loved going to the Garden. It was something special. But over the years, again, as we've discussed, I've lost my attention span for basketball entirely. But for the Knicks, I'm of the opinion, I worked for the Dolan family for a short time. The Dolans owned Sports Channel, which was a national sports network back in the 90s. They started something called News Sport, which was the wallpaper for
well, I know. I was on News Sport. Gosh, who was one of your hosts?
Was it with Chet Coppock?
Chet Coppock. That's who I was on with.
Chet was a great friend of mine. Chet hosted the nighttime show.
Yeah.
But we were owned by the Dolans, and the Dolans sold Sports Channel, News Sport, everything, lock, stock, and barrel to Fox, that created the Fox Sports Network, put everybody out of work. Just like that. So every single time the Dolans fail, I'm a happy guy.
It's funny. It's funny. That's how I was about Dan Snyder in Washington, and certainly it's amazing to me. I mean, George Steinbrenner was one of the most miserable, awful people in the world, and he was despised and hated in New York from about, I don't know, the World Series they won in, I think, '78 to not until the next World Series they won, which told me everything I needed to know about fans and sports. We when people win and their teams win, they become good guys, even though they
Sure.
might be rotten human beings. So, so this is sort of sports washing Jim Dolan right now. But I think a lot of Knicks fans, if they could have their druthers even today, they would have Dolan sell the team. But this team is magical right now, and this team, Jalen Brunson is something to watch, and he's fun to watch, and they got grit and they got heart, and now it's a great series because the Celtics are completely stocked. They have more talent. They're a better team when they play together, and when they don't, I mean, my God, they value possessions when they're up 20, like they're Christy Nome going to dinner, or Jesus, you know, I don't understand what they're doing, shooting all these threes when they have guys that can go to the rim, but that's all basketball-ese.
Well,
And
no, but
I
it
think
is good
now it's
basketball
gonna
leagues to
now it's
discuss. I mean, because if you look
yeah, and
at
it's
it,
and it's yeah.
losing the first two games, the Celtics are completely flabbergasted. When you watch them on the
Yes.
floor, it's as if it's an entirely different team. It's as if they forgot everything they did in the regular season. Coaching forgot everything they did in the regular season. And while I'll still stick by my prediction that the Celtics will win this series, I will tell you that if they do lose this series, this might be one of the greatest upsets in recent NBA memory because the Celtics are packed and loaded. Look, I understand you're big on Brunson and the Knicks, but they didn't show anything in the regular season that would make anybody think they'd come out of the box and win 2 games in Boston. You got to admit that.
I agree.
So,
I
with that
agree.
being said,
Um,
and the Celtics being that much better, I mean,
hold
we're
on one sec.
we're
I'm
recording
looking.
this. No, okay, we're recording this
I know we're
show.
recording. Yeah,
We're recording this show before Game 3. So as we look at this and we think about what the Knicks will do at home, the Celtics have got to get back to where they were. I mean, I don't know how they do that automatically. It's like they got to flip a switch, like they flipped it badly. But nobody, come on, even you, starting this series, you couldn't have picked the Knicks. Seriously.
no, not to win. No,
Right.
certainly not to win. I thought it was going to go 6 games or so.
Yeah.
The Knicks have something that the Knicks have something that the Celtics need right now, and it's mental
Two
toughness.
wins.
And and right, 2 wins. Other than that, and it just goes to show you when you talk about upsets that going into tonight, which is Game 3, when this was taped before Game 3, they're still the Celtics are still I don't know, 5.5 point favorites to win Game 3 on the Knicks court. So it goes to show you what the odds makers all believe that the Knicks are winning tonight. I bet you there's going to be a ton of money from the bettors put on Boston because their thought is this is just an anomaly. This is gonna turn away. But
Right.
here's my thing. It's the mental game right now for them. It's if Jason Tatum can get off the idea that he needs to make 3 pointers and be the guy all the time, if Drew Holiday can give him more offense, if those guys can play smart when they get up that much, all of a sudden the Knicks are going into Game 4 thinking, well, if it's 2-2, we're screwed. And this is a huge game. There's never been, well, let's be honest. There's never been a team that recovered from a 3-0 deficit in an NBA playoff series.
Correct.
Never.
Correct. And if
And
I'm right,
so,
and
so you,
I'm
so
not
you
sure,
have to
but
win. So if odds,
is it not correct that,
go
and
ahead.
again, I'm not sure of this, but I don't believe any team has dropped the first 2 games when they were up by 20 and then lost consecutive games. That might be a first. Maybe certainly in Celtics history, might be the first in NBA history.
Yeah, yes, The
Okay.
Knicks were the first team to come back from. I don't know if it's a second half 20-point lead, but they were both in the second half. But I don't know if but yeah, it's the first two to lose 2 games on their home court that were up 20, and come back. So those were devastating losses. And I tell you what, Kevin's got me in the addiction mode again because I put $20 on just for fun. I put $20 on Oklahoma City winning game one. Not Oklahoma. I mean, sorry, the Nuggets winning game one and the Knicks winning game one because it was ridiculous, right? They were 10.5 point underdogs, and I just did it for fun. I woke up the next morning. I didn't even see the late game. And then I saw the highlights, how the Nuggets pulled it out. I woke up $300 richer
That's
the
how
next
they suck
day.
you in. Come on, Mike. There you go. The gamblers got you. They pull you in just when I thought I was out.
No,
they pull me back
can't
in.
do. That was it. That was it. I gave $20 to my 14-year-old. Then I told them this is the most illegal $20 you'll ever get, and don't tell your mom I won a bet.
I want to just bring this up because you hinted at this, and I just want to hit this before we leave the NBA. You talked exactly about the reason why I don't watch the NBA anymore, because they've taken the inside game physicality out of it. The Celtics are throwing up threes, and they're throwing up bricks. What, they shoot 26, 28%? I mean, Caitlin Clark can do better in one half of a game than the Celtics did in 2 games with the way she bangs down threes nearly blindfolded. But the way the game has pushed itself outward and how it is all about can you shoot from half court, which most NBA players can shoot from half court now and make the shot. To me, that's not the basketball I grew up with. It's cheap is all it is. It's whiny, unphysical. I'm going to slap you on the hand type of basketball. I want to see these guys get down in the paint. I want to see them get in. I want to see some physicality. I want to see some elbows fly every now and then. The NBA doesn't have that anymore. It's like, to me, it's like another 3 and goodbye.
Well, as I said, I think last show or the show before that, who knows? What do we got? 12 in the books now. We're like rolling.
Something like that. We're rolling, man. Come on, we're big on TikTok. So come on.
If you hear any noise outside of me,
the fighter jets?
Yeah, you hear that motorcycle go by. A lot of people are tweaking out their motorcycles here in Panama, and they're testing them out right in front of my condo.
Perfect.
So, but thank you. And by the way, we have a sponsor now. It looks like Monster Trucks have sponsored us, and we'll have a commercial midway through the show. It's going to be amazing.
Outstanding. And by the way, don't forget, everybody, drink Polar, the really great seltzer that Ed Berliner drinks all the time. And if you're from Polar, yes, we are looking for freebies, swag, and sponsorship. There you go. Good. Okay, so back to the NBA and the whole physicality issue. I mean, I know we've touched on it before, but the fact that we talked about it, and then it came to roost in Game 2, where it shows a preponderance for NBA players to rely on a three. Don't worry about it. We're 20 points down. That only 6, 7 3-pointers, and we're back in the game. It's not that easy. It's not that automatic.
Yeah, it's the classic live by the bomb, die by the bomb, you know, and you will eventually at some point start missing those shots that you make. You won't have the rhythm. It's just as making them is contagious, missing them becomes contagious for other guys because they start to think, look, Steph Curry has changed the game probably as much as Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like where they literally had to expand the key. They had a no dunk rule for Jabbar for a while in college, and when he was Lou Alcindor. Steph Curry, he's not only one of the best people that I've ever covered, but he's now on my Mount Rushmore of non-centers to ever play the game. He's become that great. And he does things that people could never believe skill-wise that were possible. There is a YouTube out there. We should put it on the show at one point where it's not, you think it's AI. He's throwing the ball like sideways, like you and I would just chuck it from full court at a Warriors practice. And one of them goes in, and then he's like, all right, screw it. I'll take one more off the rack, and I'll throw another one. And he just he flings it from the side like he's just And it goes in. There's 3 or 4 of them that go in a row. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in a basketball court. And the fact that he could do that and nobody else, I don't think anybody else in the world could, is amazing. Now the problem has become, it's the Steph Curry disease. I mean, my son is 14. Sometimes I don't think we're related because he's really good at basketball. And
Yeah,
and yet
there's
he's got
something
the
about the mailman in there, I'm
he
sure. Yeah.
yeah, right. And he's got the disease sometimes. He wants to shoot from the parking lot. And I'm like, God, anybody that can make a mid-range shot now, that's a gift. And you need to, you make your layups and your 10 footers first, and then you go outside.
Well,
So
nobody
yeah, I
can
get
make
it. It's a
layups or 10
different game.
footers anymore, Mike.
It's a different game. It's a different game. But I'll give this to these people, this new breed of NBA player, whatever. They move the ball, Ed. There's no ISO. There's no like, here you go
Yeah, but
one-on-one, take isolation. People know how to move the ball. Somehow they find those passes, those pocket corner passes when they're trapped underneath the basket like I've never seen. And I'm like, there's no way this guy could even go out of bounds on this play, let alone get a shot or find somebody underneath the rim. And they find a way to get it to some guy in the corner at the top of the key that,
well,
that they learned growing up.
well let me throw this in here then. Is it the difference here? Is it that the NBA players simply are so much better at making threes and making long distance shots, or the NBA players are not defensively schooled well enough or not physically defensively schooled well enough to be able to stop the three pointers? Is it it's got to be one, I'm sure that a lot of the NBA purists will tell me that, well, Ed, it's a mix of both. But I'm going to try and break it down to one. You're either going to be really good at the
I
threes
think
or you can't defense the threes.
I think it's you can't defense the threes, and you can't defense the threes, but it's not because they're lousy defenders. It's because people have been, like there was never like, for instance, the Celtics, Bird would hit like 3 3-pointers in a game and it was a big deal.
Right.
Well, he'd only take like 5. These guys, who was it? Klay Thompson said to me at the NBA Finals about 8 years ago, and in Golden State. Actually, they were playing in Oakland then at the Oakland Coliseum, and he's like, I went 0 for 7 the other night in threes, like on the court. He goes, and Steve Kerr chimed in. He's right next to me. He goes, yeah. And if I would have went 0 for 7, Phil Jackson would have yanked me in a heartbeat. But the idea was that you were allowed to miss that many in a row because, whatever the statistical analysis guys knew that you were going to hit the next 3, and that was 9 points. And that's from one of the most prolific shooters in the game. So I guess what I'm getting at is they've become so good at this shot. Do you ever see like how Tyrese Halliburton won the game the other night in a shocker against Cleveland in game 2, where he got the rebound off a missed free throw and he dribbled out to the 3-point line and he just crossed the guy, and he had this step back move where they basically hop and they create distance from the defender. It's amazing. It gives you room like nobody's ever had before. And Jason Tatum does it, and it's part of the rhythm of the shot now. And so these guys have become so proficient at that. I do think there will be a rule change in the NBA, and they will move the 3-point line just a little bit back. Could be 3 inches, 4 inches, but at some point, you can't have everybody in the game making this shot with such ease that that it ruins everything else about the interior paint pass. They used to have great interior passers in the NBA.
Right.
Bill Walton, Shaq was a very good interior passer. Guys would cut through the rim, and they told you when you were growing up, as you know, good things happen when you cut to the basket. Well, now, no, good things happen when you wait out by the 3-point
Well,
line.
it's a point to think about here, because if you say they're going to change the arc, and again, it's possible, let's consider that, because you really can't do much with the arc down on the baseline because you're so tight against the
you
sideline
won't have
there.
any room to shoot.
So
Yeah.
instead of it being, and for those of you watching on video, instead of it being like this, you're almost going to have to make it like this. You're going to have to expand it outward and down the sideline, and then almost create like an orb, if you will. But if you do that, what's the limit? What do you put that line out to that makes it competitive? 20 feet?
I don't. Yeah. Well, what is it now? Is it 24-9 or 23-9? I can't remember.
Yeah, I was just being facetious.
It's
If it's 23, 24, you're right. Do you make it 30?
I don't know if you don't make it 30, but maybe you make it 26. On the on the corners and the top of the key, maybe you make that 25, 26. I think that at some point you have to make that a harder shot. You just have to. They're not going to raise the rim. They're not going to do all these other. They're not going to. They're not going to make the court bigger because that would take away seats. God bless. They'll never do that. So what they will do, though, I think, is at some point they'll stretch that line out if it becomes so easy that anybody and their mom can make that shot that's schooled in the game and grows up in it. I think they'll do that.
But
I
are people
don't
really
know.
going to, let's just say they push it out to 26 feet or 27 feet,
Yeah.
whatever. Are teams really going to change that much? Are they going to then go to more of an inside game, come inside the arc? Or are they simply going to teach, coach,
Teach
whatever?
that.
Hey, learn that shot. You guys, if you can't make a 26-footer in this league, you can't play in the NBA, dead period. Because then if you think about it, they'd have to change the physical nature of the players themselves, because what we saw years ago in down in the paint moves was a very big, very physical player who was good at it. You don't have a lot of those guys right now. I mean, yeah, you still have physical play down inside the paint and down close to the basket, but you don't have anything close to what it used to be. It's glancing shots now more than anything else. You're going to have to change and make it a physical game again, which means your players are going to have to change. They're going to have to come down from the live, very athletic player and be more physical. That's going to be another change that I don't think the NBA wants to make.
No, especially after they got rid of all those physical play where you forearm in a guy's neck, or I remember Derek Harper, the Knicks, used to steer people with his forearm. They finally took away those things. By the way, if there is any interruption in the podcast on YouTube today, the electricity and the internet here in Panama is a little spotty. We're still working on reclaiming the canal. So give us a week or so.
All the power and everything is going to reclaiming the canal.
I'm kidding, my Panamanian brother.
You're not kidding. That's part of the problem that goes in this. All right. So let's leave the NBA alongside here, because I want to make sure we hit a couple of other things here today. Story comes out today, and to me, this is entertainment more than anything else. I mean, we've discussed this before, but now it's becoming absurd entertainment. That the University of North Carolina, which is, of course, a state university, so the money there comes from the state, they have decided that because Bill Belichick is getting paid $10 million a year to coach their football team, his girlfriend, PR rep, marketing rep, lackey, nurse, whatever you want to call her, Jordan Hudson, is not allowed in the athletic facilities and cannot be on the football field. They've banned her. Bill has no say in it whatsoever. And this morning on the Sports Hub 98.5 in Boston, which is the preeminent sports talk radio station there, they had Rob Gronkowski on the show. And I found it interesting what Gronkowski added to the conversation. Just listen to him.
Sure.
Listen to the way he puts things and the way he plays the whole diplomatic politics here, knowing that this was a guy who once played for Belichick.
It has come out from North Carolina that Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's girlfriend, has been banned from all North Carolina football facilities.
Is this real news?
I swear to God, it's real news from
really
Pablo Torres. It's really going on. I swear to God. I'm not screwing with you.
Well, I can tell you this right now. Jordan and Coach Belichick are not banned from pickleball with a purpose.
You have learned so much about media. How much are you in?
She wants to.
That's
she
fine.
can sign Bill up right now, and pickleball does not discriminate on age either.
There's no
everyone can play.
That's right. It's for old people and young alike. All right, but I have to ask you this: you have to be loving. You have to love this, and I know Hoyer admitted it. Ninkovich has admitted it. You guys have group chats where this is all got to be very fun for you. this whole Belichick thing. You have to be at least laughing. You're a fun guy. You've got a good sense of humor. With all the way he was, this has got to be kind of fun for you. Funny.
Mm-hmm. It is, and back of your head, too, you're just thinking to yourself as well, like when you were on the Patriots, the whole goal was to eliminate all the distractions that can possibly happen, while you're on the team. And don't bring those distractions to the team and in the locker room. And we're just looking, down at the program in North Carolina, and it just feels like there's just distractions 24/7, down there. And there's just no football talk at all. So that's what's kind of silly about it and kind of questioning as well as what happened to eliminate every distraction. But it is what it is, and it's entertainment. It doesn't affect me.
No.
I enjoy, watching the show. And there's one thing that I'm ready for, though, and that's
it's the
football season, because I'm interested big time, and I'm invested big time on how the University of North Carolina football program is going to do, and I'm excited to see that.
But it is going to be interesting. I don't know if he's going to quit. Do you think there's any way he would quit? Because it's embarrassing, and again, Grant, this is real news. I wouldn't do that to you. I like you. I wouldn't screw with you. Do you think there's a way, just knowing him, that he would quit? Because this is all very embarrassing. I mean, would you quit? Do you think he'll quit?
No, Coach loves, the game of football. He loves coaching the game of football big time, loves being around it. So I can't see him signing up and just because there's a speed bump in the way right now of what's going on, I can't see him quitting over that, So I can see him, possibly leaving after the first year, but he do that, prior to the Boston Marathon race when we were hanging out. So thank you for the idea. All credit to you, baby.
Embarrassing? Come on, this is definitely embarrassing for Bill. I mean, Gronkowski is right about one thing here. The big thing that always turned Belichick apart and from everybody else is get away from the distractions. This is a massive distraction is all it is now. I mean, apparently the girlfriend has spent like $1 jillion buying property in Massachusetts now, and nobody knows where the money comes from. And I hear that his family now is all upset about Belichick. His family's worried that Bill is being taken over by a 24-year-old marketing genius. And all of a sudden he's like, will you cut the bullshit? This is nothing more than TMZ entertainment at this point. Don't you think that Belichick has got to know what he's doing? You would think, yes?
Yeah. Do you remember the character in the Austin Powers movie?
Which
think,
one?
Do you remember her name? It
Frau-
wasn't Ivana. It wasn't the Russian Ivana Humpalot. It was another one. She was called Pussy Galore.
No, Pussy Galore was
Yeah.
actually the James Bond character. I think they
Oh,
called
the
it-
original James Bond.
The original
Bond.
James Bond
Yeah.
was Pussy Galore, yes. I don't know who the character was. It was, I don't remember.
Yeah, so Pussy Galore, and I don't, and so I don't know if we can say that on the pro.
Yeah,
I don't know if we can say that on the program,
Pussy
but
Galore.
the scent of a woman is undefeated.
Yeah, we may have
The
to.
scent of a woman is
say-
undefeated.
Matter of fact, let's make the rule right now, Mike. We cannot say
Yeah.
Pussy Galore on this show. We cannot say Pussy Galore. We cannot spell Pussy Galore. We cannot even intimate that we know the name of the character as Pussy Galore. We cannot say it. It is just all wrong. So no Pussy Galore, okay?
So yeah, so a scent of a woman is undefeated, and this is the oldest story in time. The people have fallen in love with women, and empires have come down. I don't know which one, the Roman, the Persian, who knows? But the bottom line is. Look, you're going out with a 24-year-old. That's a distraction alone. I mean, I am a little worried. It is kind of embarrassing. And I'm shocked that Bill Belichick has gone along with it. The only thing I can think of is maybe he didn't want to tell her himself that he needed more space, and he went in on it with him. But let's say if the state of North Carolina, which means UNC Chapel Hill, can tell you that your girlfriend, your significant other, cannot go on the field, cannot be around your work, Like, what's next? They're driving a wedge in your relationship. This could be the end of Bill and Jordan. What are they going to do next? Sign them up for senior dating apps?
Well,
This
they're
is
already on a
messed up,
senior date.
Ed.
Come on, let's look at it this way. Jordan is right there because the only reason that she can possibly be there is 1, take care of
No,
his
but I'm
PR,
saying
2,
no,
do his
but
marketing, and 3, change his adult diapers. Okay?
but I'm saying, but but I'm saying Chapel Hill is going to make Bill go on these senior dating apps, and Jordan will be left to do her Instagram world on her own and hang out with the Kardashians. It's going to be awful, and I don't
Look,
want to see this. This is a match made in, I don't know, really dysfunctional entertainment hell, and I want
no,
it to happen, and I
no,
want it to stay.
no. It's a
I
match
want
made
Bill.
in.
I want Bill and Jordan to work out. I want those two kids to. I'm worried about those two kids right now, and I
It's a
want them to work
match
out.
made in clickbait heaven. Come on.
Exactly.
Bill knows it. Jordan knows it.
That's
She's
what I.
young enough to know. They're just doing it because it's throwing attention. Look, there's no reason whatsoever for anybody to really, and this will absolutely make some people scream. There's no reason for anybody to talk about North Carolina football. No reason.
No.
It's
No,
a
you
secondary
can go. You
program
can
to the
go 12.
basketball
You can.
team. Nobody thinks about it. I mean, yeah, maybe they win a game here and there, okay. But are they in the national championship conversation? Hell no. But that's what Bill is there for.
If you're
North Carolina knew that they were going to bring him in and he was going to up the marketing of the program. People are going to pay attention to North Carolina. And guess what? Every time Jordan swishes around in one of her barely seeable things anywhere near the field, what do you see? North Carolina head coach Bill Belichick's girlfriend, marketing nurse, diaper changer, whatever, is seen in this picture looking real hot. It's got North Carolina all over it, Mike. It's brilliant. Brilliant.
I don't know. I'm just worried about Hubert Davis now, the UNC basketball coach. Is he thinking himself that he needs a little 20-year-old thing to feel good about life? This whole going out with younger women thing has got to stop. And I can say that because my wife is 12 years younger.
I was going to say, probably the only reason that you say that is because you're married, so you can't go out with a younger woman. You're already married to a younger woman.
Well, exactly.
You have to do all
Exactly.
that. But I think it's interesting when the question came up as to whether or not Bill might quit. I don't think he's going to quit, but I do think it's very possible that he's doing this for a couple of years. He'll set somebody up. He'll bring in one of his old assistants, maybe. He'll bring in somebody younger. They'll take over the program. He'll set it up. And then he'll go into the front office maybe as some kind of emeritus or whatever, or some kind of athletic department honcho to go out there and raise money for him. Because Bill is just having fun right now. He's 67 years old or whatever he is, and he's enjoying it. Everybody's paying attention to him. And I'm waiting for
No,
the day.
no, he's not. He said,
Oh, come on. I'm waiting for the
He's
day that Bill
73.
Belichick looks right in the camera and goes, "You wish you had a young girlfriend." He hasn't said that yet, but I will.
Can you imagine being 49 years old? I have dated younger women in my life, and I've dated older women, but at some point, it's a little skeevy. I don't know. It's just me, like, where if you're 49 years old and someone brings over their little toddler and you go, "Oh, you cute little thing," and she becomes your girlfriend in 20 something years, that's kind of weird. I mean, it's just weird, I'll be honest with you. Like, we have started having kids, and we've had a couple attractive nannies, and at no point where I'm whatever I'm 50s. I'm going. I'm like, quarter like, wait a minute, your dad's in Colombia, you're here. All right, you're not going out with this guy. Like, I become their dads. I don't like at no point do I want to pull a Robin Williams on him or something. It's just weird.
Write
It's
this
just
down.
weird when
Okay.
you like women that much younger.
Let's
I mean,
write
it's one
this
thing
down.
to say, "Wow, she's cute."
Mike Wise will
Wow,
never
this woman
Mike
is really
Wise will
cute.
never allow. Hey, but by the way, you have a daughter, correct?
Correct. She's
Okay.
7. And you
Okay.
can't date her and you can't date her in 21 in 18 years. You're
Let's
not
write
allowed.
this down. Mike Wise will be the get off my lawn father when his daughter is eligible to date, and he will be standing there with the figurative or the literal handgun in his hand going, "Come on, boy. You want to talk? Come on. Let's go." You and I in here. You're going to be that dad. You know you are.
No, actually, you know what? Margaret, my 7-year-old, God bless her. Other than my 10-year-old Elliot and my 14-year-old Oliver, Margaret's the one who's going to be incarcerated. She is crazy, and I will warn young men who go out with her. She could hurt you. No, I'm not talking break your heart. She will physically hurt you. But anyway, go ahead. We can move on.
No. Speaking of being incarcerated, no, let's go ahead and walk past that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had this. I was thinking about, again, a lot of the conversation we've had about, and we did this back during the draft. Well, a lot of teams that you didn't want to get drafted by. The players said, I don't want to go there, hell or high water. And we mentioned the New York Jets. We talked about the Dallas Cowboys. And I got a lot of response from people who were just hammering me. How could you say the Cowboys? The Cowboys are in the conversation every year. The Cowboys have always got the best players. And I'm thinking to myself, what have they done? They haven't done anything whatsoever. Then, of course, the Cowboys pull the trigger. They get George Pickens from Pittsburgh. And everybody in Dallas is talking about, oh, this is the guy. We're going to win a Super Bowl now. We got an offensive weapon here. We're going to be in the Super Bowl. For the life of me, again, I cannot express how America hates the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, this is not America's team anymore.
Yeah.
Come on, you have people who root for other teams, and it becomes a gratuitous, fun moment anytime the Dallas Cowboys fail. They're at that point. Yeah, I mean,
It does. I mean,
they've got their
I mean,
fans.
it's kind of Stephen. It's part of Stephen A's bit. You know, it's part of Stephen A. Smith's bit. You know, what do they do now? Let's laugh at them. You know, I mean, people hate Notre Dame. People hate,
Yes.
the established.
No.
People hate. People might hate Duke basketball more than they used to hate Notre Dame football because they've become the sort of lily white standard of excellence. The Cowboys for a lot of years were, what did they say? That they had a hole in the roof in Irving, Texas, so God could watch his favorite team play. I mean, this is the part of the Cowboy lore. I don't know. I don't necessarily root for the Cowboys, and I did when they played Washington and Snyder was the owner. But I don't know. I just, like to me,
I just think more people
to me,
root against the
it's a
Dallas
non-story.
Cowboys
To me,
than root for them. More people
yeah, I
root
know,
against
but
the Dallas Cowboys than root for them.
but
They love to see the Cowboys fail. They love to see Jerry Jones fail. They love to see
oh
Dak
yeah,
Prescott fail. They enjoy every single time they fail and they lose. I think it's almost a cottage industry, if you will, in pro football fans. We love to see the Cowboys lose. They might be
I think that's.
come on. They might be the most hated team
No,
in America.
that's
Quietly.
everybody. But Ed, that's everybody who's successful. People, do you know how bad? You know how much the Patriots were hated
Yes,
at the end
I do. I was
between
there.
Deflategate and everything else. People just wanted to see people didn't want to see the Patriots lose. They wanted to see them disemboweled. They wanted to see them, thrown into the gladiator pits in Rome and eaten by tigers. Okay, so I think that's
What a
what
great visual. I
success
got to see if
breeds
somebody's
that kind
done
of
this.
hate.
I like that. I like that very much. Well, but the people hated the Patriots when the Patriots became good and they started to go on the
Yes.
Super Bowl run. Then they became the scourge of American football fans. My point is, people have hated the Dallas Cowboys for generations. It's been decades now.
Yes.
The only reason the Dallas Cowboys became America's team is because CBS Television cut a deal with the NFL at that point because they had a brand new quote unquote stadium at the time. They had a great place to put 4 o'clock games. You also had Summerall and the crew and Madden all who loved being in Dallas. They all had a tight relationship with the Cowboys in the NFL. So that's the only reason they became America's team is because they were on television every week. Look, I used to sit in New York and I watched, and it was always the 4 o'clock game we got was the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. It never changed.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not that I disagree with you. I just think that you hit it on the head when you said the TV exposure made them America's team. I mean, George Preston Marshall, the racist owner of the Washington football team many years ago, long before Dan Snyder, like his signature move was he bought all these radio rights, and Washington became the team of the South. And so, incidentally, they were the last player to integrate, the last NFL team to integrate and have a black player in
Yes.
1962.
Yes.
I think it was Bobby Mitchell, and it was only because all these fans were from the deep South, that, from when New Orleans didn't have a franchise, when Atlanta didn't have a franchise, when there were no franchises in Florida and North Carolina. They
But
all
you're also
listened
talking about
to the
really, really
Washington
old
game.
history. You're talking about 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm saying, and so what happened was they became the most popular team for that corner of the area. I used to watch Notre Dame football highlights, Lindsey Nelson and Paul Horning on Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings in Napa, California when I was a child. And I thought, oh my God, I want to play for Notre Dame. It was because they were on TV. Someone had someone had purchased the TV rights to those highlights. And I was dumb enough to not know that they were highlights. I just thought that Pete Dimmerly and then Tom Clements scored on every other play. But the bottom line is, I think that this is what, the media oversaturation has contributed to the hate for a lot of teams, including the New York Yankees.
Well, you also, though, you hit on something else here. People hate teams. Let's put this simply: the majority of people hate franchises and sports teams who succeed. They immediately hate them. Look,
They hate people who succeed too. There are people right now at home that hate us, Ed. They hate us because this podcast is blowing up.
We have not succeeded yet, so don't hate us yet. You can hate us in another 6 months or so again when people like Polar come in and spend all their money and they sponsor this, and this becomes the Polar fastest show in sports. Then you can hate us. Okay? Does that make you feel better?
Before we move on, what was your first concert? And I'll tell you mine because it's really embarrassing, but what was your first concert?
Go ahead. Oh, you want me to? Okay.
Oh,
My first concert was Sly and the Family Stone at Madison Square Garden.
Ooh.
It was the wedding concert for Sly. He got married on stage and then did a concert. He did not have an opening act. It was the day that I also fell in love with Stevie Wonder's music because I had heard it on the radio before, and they played Talking Book before the concert, the whole thing, and it was a brilliant album, and still is to this day. But I still see Sly Stone getting married, and the preacher, whatever it is, we're sitting and I'm looking down on it like this way, down to my right, for those of you on the podcast, and the preacher, whatever it was, said, "Do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife?" And Sly leans in, he goes, "Yeah." That's it. And it was over. They got married. They played a concert. It was brilliant. And they probably got divorced after about 6 or 7 days. But I was a kid. My dad had to take me and a friend's daughter to go see it because we couldn't get in without parental supervision. And that was my first concert with marijuana because the whole place was, it was floating. The smoke that was in there, like the smoke coming from the cars underneath you right now. But it was my first experience with what was then grass, weed, whatever you want to call it. And I came out of there very happy. Very happy.
Oh, that's awesome. See, that's a great story. That was part of our monster truck sponsor, by the way. The below us. So mine was, and I'm going to admit this because I don't know how many people make it this far into the show, but Sean Cassidy at the Blaisdell Center Arena in Honolulu, and I was in seventh grade, eighth grade, and I went to see it with my best friend in high school, best friend in middle school, Richard Goodhine Lee, who actually took his father's name later, Richard Takashita, and we saw it, and we were two young men or two teenagers, 14 years old, amongst 8,000 screaming girls and we thought, and we got out of there and we wanted to be Sean Cassidy.
I was going to say, were you
forgettable.
The only two males in the audience?
I want to say we were, and it was pretty pathetic. Like, he would buy the Tiger Beats and I would buy the albums, and we wanted to be the Hardy Boys, and we thought that that's what got girls, and we had no clue that it was actually money and fame, like Bill Belichick.
I can only imagine that if things had been different, you could have been on the cover of Tiger Beat magazine. I can. And there's about 8 people listening to this thing who are going to say, oh, I know what Tiger Beat is. The rest of the people go, they don't know. And on that note, he's Mike Wise. I'm Ed Berliner. Kevin Winter will be back with us on Tuesday. Mike, thanks. Salute. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I'm Ed Berliner, of course, as I said. So till next time, rock on, true believers.
That's all, folks.